Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. So today we are talking about the Simplicity S9604, which is a summer release pattern. It is such a beautiful pattern and I am excited to share with you my thoughts and my review. Before we get into the video, if you are new to the channel, my name is T and this is my YouTube channel, Simplicity and Sewing. If you enjoyed the content of this video today, and if you end up watching other videos and you like my content, please consider subscribing to the channel and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can receive notifications of my videos when I post them. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and get into today's video and let's talk about this Simplicity S9604 pattern. Okay, so the Simplicity S9604 comes in two different groups of sizes. So you can purchase the 6 to 14 and the 16 to 24. Now, I will say right out the gate that this is a pattern that has a lot of ease. So you definitely want to measure your pattern pieces before you actually make your garment or make a mock-up because it definitely has a lot of ease. I calculated for the size 16, which was supposed to be, I believe, a 41 for the bust. I'll go ahead and put the measurements here, but I had about 4 or 5 inches of ease, probably even a little bit more, about 5.5 inches of ease. If you count the back and the side seams, lots of ease in this pattern. So as of the date of this video, I've made 4 tops with this pattern. So that should give you an indication of how much I like the pattern. Normally, I'll make no more than 2 tops for a pattern or 2 dresses or whatever I'm making. I usually don't make no more than 2 if I don't like the pattern. I'll make 1 just to get a feel of the garment and 2 to be sure of any kind of mistakes or anything like that that's in the pattern is actually the pattern and not coming from me. And so I've made 4 tops and I absolutely enjoyed the process of sewing it. I loved every top that I made. There were a few things that I would have done differently with some of the tops, but other than that, I just absolutely enjoyed this pattern. So you get 4 different variations with this pattern. The body of the garment is basically the same for all variations. You just have sleeve variations and you also have your hem variation. So you can do a tunic, you can do a crop version, you can do a version that's a regular version that falls right at the high hips. So you have some options there in terms of the length of your garment and then the sleeve options. The pattern has pleating going around the neckline. So you do, I believe, maybe 4 pleats around the neckline on the right and 4 on the left. And the center of the garment is left open. So you don't have no pleating in that center area. There's also pleating around the neckline and the back. And I believe there's 5 or 6 pleats in the back. So you are doing quite a bit of pleating with this, but I enjoy it. It's a beautiful pattern. I would definitely say this is more advanced beginner just because of the amount of work that it entails, but it's definitely an easy pattern to sew. You have your V neckline. In terms of your sleeve lengths, you have a long sleeve that has an elastic in the hem of the sleeve, which is really fun. So for views A, B, and C, you'll see that it's featuring that long sleeve. And then for view D, you have this flutter sleeve. Now I will say for the flutter sleeve, like with the body of the garment, it's a lot of ease in your sleeve. I definitely could have taken out 3 inches of ease in my sleeve. It's just way too voluminous for a flutter sleeve, in my opinion. I did not correct that. However, in the future, I would probably correct that. The size that I chose is a size 16, and I believe the pattern says that it's a 41 inch for the finished bust measurement on the tissue paper. But like I said, it has a lot of ease, about 5 to 6 inches of ease. So make sure you measure your pattern before going into this project and adjust accordingly. Now for my first garment that I made, which is the one that I'm wearing now, I made it with this beautiful gold and black and pink cotton sateen that I purchased from Fabric Mart Fabrics. I absolutely love this. I made a skirt as well, and you'll learn more about the skirt that I made as well. I'll do a pattern review for that. But this is the crop version of it. But I did lengthen my crop version about 2 inches just so that it can come near my, I can either raise it above my belly button or I can put it below my belly button depending on what kind of garment I'm wearing. Most likely I'll be wearing this with a high-waisted pencil skirt, a high-waisted pair of jeans, or that skirt that I made with it. So that's why I made the crop version. Normally I don't show my tummy or anything like that, but if I plan on making a cropped top, I'm definitely going to wear a high-waisted garment to cover that the gap between the crop top and my waistline. So with the crop version calls for a 1 1/4 inch wide elastic band. And so you're going to put that in the hem of your top. So just keep that in mind if you do the crop version, and you just want to make sure that the length of the top is where you want it to be before you put that elastic in, because you are taking out a 1 1/4 inch from the bottom of your top to put that elastic in. So the elastic is quite wide, and so when I was wearing it, it was flipping on itself, and so I decided to top stitch on the elastic band so that it can be more stable. And that's the only mistake that I made. Instead of actually stitching it in the center of the band, I think I stitched it off center a little bit, and so you can kind of see it, but it's not a big deal. I do like the top. And the only thing that I would change for this version is the flutter sleeves. Like I said, I think that the flutter sleeves are just way too wide. I also took in the sides a little bit because the pattern has so much ease. I decided to take in about 2 inches on this top and the second top, and I'll show you what the second top looks like. So I took out about 2.5 inches from the side seams, which initially ended up being 5 inches, and it still has quite a bit of room in the back of the garment, and I'll show you. I think I'm left with about maybe 2.5 to 3 inches of ease left now in the back and the side of my garment. So, but the elastic helps to cinch it in, and so it's really nice, and I like the way that I paired it. I paired it with a pair of high-waisted jeans. I also paired it with a high-waisted pencil skirt and the skirt that I made for it. And I absolutely love the way that this is just so versatile, and I can wear it with pretty much anything. So I like this top, and I would definitely recommend you sewing this. So for the second variation that I made it with this beautiful Charmeuse fabric that I purchased from Joann Fabrics last year. And I believe, so it has irregular dots on it. It reminds me of not quite like a Dalmatian print, but it's similar to that. I believe it looks like it might be a cheetah print, but I don't know. The print looks like it might be too big to be cheetah prints. But anyway, it's a really beautiful fabric. It is like this really golden brown color and black. Such a beautiful, beautiful fabric, and it's really silky. Now, if you purchase this fabric from Joann Fabrics, if it's still available in your location, it's not available at my location, but if it's still available in your location and you decide to get it, just make sure you serge the ends of your fabric before you wash it, and serge the ends of your fabric while you're working with them as well. It'll just make it a lot easier for you. This fabric does fray, and it'll just keep fraying and eating up your fabric. And so I would definitely say serge your ends before you wash it, and then also as you're sewing with it, try to, with each step, try to go ahead and serge your seams once they're put together, because it will just fray like nonstop. But other than that, it is a beautiful fabric. I like the way that it feels. I love the drape of it. And it sews pretty easily as well. Like I said, the only problem I had with that fabric is the fraying. So this garment, I also did a crop as well. I took out a little bit more fabric on the side than I did with this one, with the cotton sateen version. And so you'll see it's a little bit slimmer. And I also did the long sleeve, or it's more of a 3/4 length sleeve. And I absolutely love this. I cannot tell you enough. I love this. Now I made a mistake around the neckline of this one, and I snipped the neckline in a little bit past the 3/8 of an inch seam mark, and I think it was more like a 1/2 inch, and so I had to go in a little deeper to cover up the mistake that I made. And so you'll see the neckline on it is a little bit different, but it's a little lower, but it's still it's a gorgeous make. I love it. And I paired this with I made a skirt. So I was trying to make like this faux dress with this outfit. I don't know if it turned out the way in which I was envisioning it in my head, just simply because the skirt pattern that I chose has an elastic waistline, and I probably should have chosen a pattern that had just a stable waistband. So that's all I did with that one. I didn't do anything too elaborate or anything like that. Now, if you want to get an idea of how the garment looks without the elastic, you can take a look at the fall version that I created that does not have an elastic band in it. It is a crop version because, again, I tried to make this faux dress with a skirt that I made, but I cropped it off a little bit too much because I didn't have enough fabric. I only had 2 yards of fabric, and I wanted to make a skirt and a top. And so I had to crop it off at a certain point so that I can also get my skirt. So that was the caveat with that one, and the drawback, it just didn't work as well. However, I do like that it's a beautiful garment. And again, although it's cropped, I can definitely wear it with a high-waisted pair of pants, a high-waisted skirt. You know, it's just a beautiful garment. And I like that one as well. But you can get a better idea of how the back is supposed to lay without the elastic in the waistline. So again, that is the cropped version. And that one is a true crop. I think it has maybe 1 inch added to it. Whereas with this one and the Charmeuse version, that was, I think I added 2 inches to both, about 2 or 2.5 inches in length to both of those tops. And so the fabric for that one is a beautiful fall floral fabric that I purchased again from Joann Fabrics. It was in their fall collection of last year. Absolutely love that one as well. And like I said, I made this beautiful matching skirt with it, which I think is just so gorgeous with it, especially belted. And so, yeah, I just love that. And I believe that's also a Charmeuse fabric as well. And again, if you happen to come across this fabric and you want to buy it from Joann, just make sure you serge your raw edges because it will fray. This is another fabric. It will fray a lot. Okay, so for the last version that I made, this one is the regular length version that sits at the hip. And I really like this pattern, the longer length pattern, because I really like the way that it fits. Actually, I think I cut off a little bit of fabric at the end of the hem there, but not much. But it is the regular length. The regular length, like I said, it sits around your high hip area, but I think I cut off just a little bit because I thought it was a little bit too long. So this one's also a 3/4 length sleeve. I put elastic in the sleeve. The only difference with the elastic in the sleeve of this one and the 2 Charmeuse versions is that I put a wider elastic band. which means I had to also stitch the elastic band in the middle of the elastic band so that the elastic didn't flip while I was wearing it. So that's the only difference and adjustment that I made with that sleeve pattern, which I think is really fun and cute. Now this one is the tunic version that it's not supposed to have elastic in the waistline. Now you do have two variations shown here. View A, you put elastic in the waistline, the entire waistline, the front and the back. And view B is supposed to be just a regular size tunic. Now there is no difference between view A and B in terms of the actual pattern. And so you're getting just as much fabric for view A as you're getting for view B. So if you don't put that elastic in your waistline, you're going to have a lot of fabric. It's going to be really, really huge and big if you select the size 16 that same size that I selected. So you're going to have a lot of ease in that pattern. So I had to, again, do something to accommodate for that. And at this point, I didn't really realize at this point that it was going to be that big because I didn't do a longer version for the other two, or the other three. I did cropped and semi-cropped versions of the other three. And so I didn't realize that it was going to be that much room. It was going to be so roomy. And so to accommodate for that, I didn't want to have elastic going around the entire waistline. And I had already put the garment together. I sewed the garment together and I serged the ends and everything. And so to accommodate for that, I decided to put elastic in the back of the garment only. And so I just used my side seam, the serge side seams as the starting point. And I took some elastic and I measured the back of my waistline with the help of my husband. And I took that elastic and I cut it not quite in half, but not quite 3/4 of an inch. So in between a half and 3/4 of an inch. So I measured the where my waistline was at, again with the help of my husband, from the bottom of my top. So I had already hemmed my top. So from the bottom of my top to my waistline and the small in my bag, I decided to go ahead and get my husband to take that measurement. And then I took the elastic and I put the elastic along the back of my waistline. And I just scratched the elastic and sewed the elastic in place with the narrow zigzag stitch. And I'll show you what it looks like here. You might be a little bit confused by my wording, but I'll show you what it looks like and you can get an idea of what I did. I'll turn the garment inside out and you can see all the changes and things like that I've made to the back. So that's what I did to cinch in the back because it just had way too much fabric back there. And so it was able to, when I did that, the garment was able to lay closer to my waistline, and it's more of a fitted look around my waistline instead of having it like this boxy look that you would get with view B. So anyway, those are all the garments that I've made. And like I said, as of this video, I haven't made the dress yet, but I do intend on making it. And if I do, I'll insert a clip here and you can see what the dress turned out to look like. I'm so excited about this pattern, and I'm definitely going to make another version